April 1941. A federal photographer carries a camera into a cabaret on the south side of Chicago and takes this picture. For decades, rooms like this one were raided, padlocked, and preached against, not for the liquor, for the guest list. So here is the question this film answers. Why is a man from a farm agency in Washington photographing a Chicago dance floor? And why is his negative still sitting in a federal file cabinet 85 years later? This is 47th Street. In April of 1941, it is the main artery of a neighborhood the people who live there call Bronzeville. The numbers first. In 1910, the census counts about 44,000 Black residents in Chicago. By 1940, 277,000. Most came north on the Illinois Central Line, out of Mississippi, Tennessee, and Louisiana. And nearly all of them live here because they are not allowed to live anywhere else. Look at these buildings. Deeds on the surrounding blocks carry a standard clause, not to be sold or rented to Negroes. Two sociologists working these same streets, St. Clair Drake and Horace Caton, measure the neighborhood at roughly 7 miles long and 1.5 miles wide. Inside, landlords cut apartments into single rooms with a hot plate and call them kitchenettes, a family to a room. The rent runs higher than white Chicago pays for twice the space. The Depression is still here in 1941. These caption cards read simply, "Family on Relief." But squeeze 250,000 people into 7 square miles, and they build a city inside the city. This is the Chicago Defender, a Black-owned newspaper with national circulation. Its publisher photographed at his desk. Black doctors, Black insurance firms, Black real estate offices, selling and renting the only blocks Black Chicago is permitted to hold. Barbershops, dress shops, a dime store on 47th where, the caption notes, the customers are mostly Negroes. On Sunday morning, the neighborhood is in church, storefront Pentecostal congregations, choirs, a preacher mid-sermon. Easter morning, 1941. Russell Lee photographs these boys on the south side. Hold that name, Lee. He matters in a minute. 6 days a week, this city inside a city works, prays, and pays double for half. Then Saturday night comes. This is a tavern on the south side, April 1941. To understand what made rooms like this dangerous, you need one piece of vocabulary. A Black and Tan was a club where Black and white patrons drank and danced in the same room at the same time, in a city segregated nearly everywhere else. The name came from outside. Reform committees and vice squads used it in their reports. Preachers used it from the pulpit. It was not a compliment. But the music didn't care. From the 20s on, the strip of State Street between 31st and 35th, people called it the Stroll, and later 47th Street held the clubs where Chicago jazz was made. White Chicago crossed the line at night to hear it, and that crossing is what the raids were about. Mixed dancing, in the language of the Vice reports, was the offense. And some of these rooms were queerer than the Vice squads had words for. The Cabin Inn on Cottage Grove, a Black and Tan that billed itself the South Side's oddest nightclub, ran a nightly review of female impersonators produced by a performer named Valda Gray. The Chicago Defender covered those shows like any other headline act. Its verdict in 1939, Valda Gray's reviews belonged among the best on the South Side. Drag was mainstream Bronzeville nightlife, decades before anyone drew a map of queer Chicago that pointed north. Which brings back the question, rooms the city policed for a generation, who decided to put them on film and why? The answer starts in Washington. The Farm Security Administration, a New Deal agency built for farmers, keeps a photography unit under a man named Roy Stryker. Stryker's file already holds tens of thousands of pictures of American life, dust storms, sharecroppers, migrant camps. In 1941, the file comes to Chicago. It comes because of a book. The novelist Richard Wright, author of Native Son and a former resident of these blocks, is writing a folk history of Black migration called 12 Million Black Voices, and he is building it from the research files of Horace Caton, the same sociologist measuring these blocks. The pictures will come from Stryker's file. The photo editor is Edwin Roscom, and the photographer Roscom brings to shoot Chicago in April 1941 is Russell Lee, the same photographer whose caption cards run under nearly every frame in this film. In about 3 weeks, Lee and Roscom make more than 400 photographs here. The book will use only a handful. The rest go into the file and wait. Now the story darkens, because the government sending the camera is the same government whose appraisal maps had already traced these blocks in red, marking them hazardous for loans, sealing the walls the covenants built. So the negatives cut both ways. They are evidence of what the walls did. Children asleep, 3 to a bed, in rooms rented by the week. And a funeral, because the file follows the neighborhood all the way to the end of it. But Lee's assignment doesn't stop at hardship. Stryker's standing instruction to his photographers was to shoot how people actually live. All of it. Which is how a federal camera ends up at a Saturday night dance. Saturday night, April 1941, Lee follows the neighborhood out. This is the Savoy Ballroom on South Parkway at 47th, open since 1927, the largest dance hall on the South Side, running 2 bands a night so the music never stopped. His caption for this frame? Sound effects man of orchestra at the Savoy Ballroom. Look at the crowd. Nobody is posing. Lee shoots fast, with flash, from inside the room, not through a window. Saturday is skate night. Instructors on the floor, couples showing off. His caption here reads, Negro swinging his girl on roller skates. Frame number 38538. It goes into the federal file between a church choir and a kitchenette, filed as plain American life, which in 1941 is its own quiet argument. No raid in these pictures, no vice report, just the room at full speed. One more address, the bar at the Palm Tavern on 47th Street. The caption says simply, Negro Restaurant. Musicians and press agents made it a clubhouse. The defenders' offices were minutes away. And this, a girl listening to the music at a dance. He gives her no name. The file gives her a number. 45 of these Nightlife prints were gathered into one folder at the Library of Congress. Its label, LOT 1084. In 1944, the whole FSA file, Chicago dance floors included, transferred to the Office of War Information, then to the library, where it sits today. Public domain, free to any of us. The Savoy came down. The clubs on the Stroll are parking lots and vacant lots. An expressway was later cut along the neighborhood's western edge. What survived is this. A Saturday night that outlasted every sermon and every raid because a farm agency filed it under ordinary life. The dancers kept no record. The record keeps them. This film is part of a series built from that same federal file. The last one follows a single charwoman in Washington whose photograph became an American icon. It's on screen now.